Hi guys, it's Dr. Liz here. How are you doing? I hope all of you are having a wonderful day. A wonderful day. And for all of you that are popping on here, I just wanted to say hi. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have questions, just drop them on inside. But today, this week's Facebook post is about relationships and how relationships can be roller coasters. And I really want to talk to you about if you know what is to be expected, you'll know how to enjoy the ride. You certainly are not going to want to jump off of that ride or relationship or marriage. And so I think of relationships in four stages. And so that's why I'm using the roller coaster analogy. The first stage is that anticipation and excitement of purchasing the ticket. You know, and they're the one. This is fantastic. Being with them makes me feel good. Being with them makes me feel absolutely incredible and energized and excited. And you finally find yourself standing on that platform, whether it's in a committed relationship, whether it's engaged or married. But you know, you're a newlywed. You're in this perfect new relationship. Everything they do is great. Everything you do is great. It's wonderful. So there's anticipation, there's excitement, there's energy. You got the ticket, okay? Then the second stage of relationship roller coasters is that hill climb. You know, when you're already strapped in to the roller coaster seat and you're kind of getting excited and you start looking around and everything, and then boom, it starts. And it can get kind of scary. Now your adrenaline's going and we're going up a hill. And I wonder how high that hill is going to be and how hard how long it's going to be. But then you start looking around, kind of seeing where things are. And so it can be big and scary when you're on that hill, right? The third stage is the plunge. It's the pit of your stomach. It is that exciting feeling. You're strapped in and you know you're going down. Okay, you know there's going to be conflict. You know there's going to be this adrenaline, and you don't know how far or how fast before you hit to the bottom and whoosh. And if you're going to whoosh up or you're going to whoosh straight, but you have that adrenaline because you're going all the way down. For me, it's like stomach in the stomach up in my eyeballs kind of thing. But we're staying on the ride. There's no getting off, guys. You do not want to get off the roller coaster ride at that point in time, right? And then finally, after many ups and downs and whooshes, you are returning to the gate where you're ready to stop. The roller coaster sort of stops. Oh, wow, that's kind of exciting kind of thing. I want you to be the type of individual and couple that is ready to ride the roller coaster in your relationship again, that you're enjoying it, because even though the up and the down is scary and it's energizing, you'll learn the skills to weather all of these roller coaster rides, and you will be looking forward to the next ride because you know what you need. All of the tools and tips are in my Happy Marriage Masterclass. You have them and you know what you need. You can anticipate and you can then sit back and enjoy the ride, knowing we're going to go up and we're going to go down, but I want to stay on. I want to stay together. I want to stay committed because I have the skills. We have the skills to manage normal ups and downs in life and your relationship. Okay? So understanding there's always going to be rides in your relationship or marriage, I'm wanting to show you how 5 simple steps will have you enjoying and wanting to stay on the ride with your sweetheart, your spouse, your partner. Right? And with the holidays coming up, I thought about a very special couple that I wanted to share their real struggles and their successes. Okay? So maybe with holidays coming up, that's a historically kind of a conflicted or pulling of needs kind of moment. And so maybe Shawnee and Paul can help you see how they manage one of these moments. So Shawnee and Paul are newlyweds, and they hit their very first bump with the holidays. And with that first bump, Shawnee was ready to call it quits. You see, she came from a long history of parents that had fought quite a bit during her childhood, and it ended in divorce suddenly. At least from Shawnee's perspective, she was a kid. She said one day Dad was there, one day, the next day he wasn't. And Mom continued to date and remarry and date again, kind of thing. And so Shawnee was really gun shy, really gun shy. And she had her own personal history. I mean, she didn't have a lot of relationships, but she definitely had many short relationships that never ended in anything permanent. Well, then here comes Paul. All right, and Paul is he's both of them are sweethearts. But Paul's a pretty laid back kind of guy. I mean, really laid back. But he came from a family with drama. But his perspective, how he looked at things, and his personality had him, I want to say, maintaining that laid backness in their relationship. Yeah, you know. And so even during dating and early marriage, pretty much whatever Shawnee wanted, and he didn't feel strongly about, he was okay with it. So that kept the platform, you know, that excitement strong in their relationship and then into their marriage. Okay. And then suddenly Paul wasn't okay with something. In their very first holiday together as husband and wife, you know, Paul's history of just going along with, if Shawnee felt good about it or, you know, pretty, you know, strongly about it, he was kind of great. And so Shawnee was shocked and taken back and lacked all the skills, actually both of them did, to manage when Paul had some very specific ideas about their first Christmas together. It did not involve traveling to family or friends. He wanted a very quiet, intimate, a hallmark perfect Christmas, is how he described it. Well, Shawnee, you know, she had never experienced any real objections from Paul. And she had different ideas about how the Christmas holidays would be. You know, I think from her perspective, she was going to do the circuit and show off her ring and, you know, be a great couple. So neither one of them had really any other struggles together while they were dating. So they lacked skills. They lacked real life conflict communication. Conflict communication, guys. Right? They hadn't had practice watching their family members or parents manage conflicts. They hadn't had practice within other relationships of managing conflicts successfully, and neither of them had, you know, practice in managing conflicts within their relationship because we had the Paul factor, right? Okay. A standard coping strategy for Shawnee is that she typically bailed in her dating relationships when they got complicated. And this was getting complicated. Her marriage with Paul, being slow, easygoing, left her in a high state of, I made a huge mistake mindset. I need to leave. I need to run. I need a divorce. That's just boom where her head went. So she was ready to bail at the very first, you know, kind of pushback, right? So this is the second stage of relationship roller coaster. It's that scary roller coaster. It's moving up the hill, and Shawnee is strapped into the, you know, thing through marriage and things, but she is ready to bail, jump mid-ride, and it was getting scary and tough, and she did not know how to handle it. So they called me because I know how to handle it. Okay. And we talked about slowing things down. We used my Happy Marriage Masterclass program, plus me. And we are going to learn, and I taught them how to have difficult conversations, conflict conversations, remember, because we're talking, we're just not fighting. And a big caveat that I shared with them, guys, is it's not what you fight about, it's how you fight. And I really want to hammer that home or emphasize it. It's not what you fight about, it's how you fight. And the majority of us don't come pre-wired with conflict conversation, conflict communication. We typically didn't see it growing up. We typically, but we knew we're in relationships, we don't seem to have all the skills. So, anyway, working with me, I said, we're going to smooth out some of these bumps. We're going to help you guys get both on track so you can enjoy your first holiday as husband and wife. They worked hard, and they discovered that it was really worth Paul stepping out of laid-back Paul. It was really worth Paul speaking up, and it was also extremely useful for Shawnee, learning how to be calm, and welcome his opinion. And then they learned how to sort things out, right? So I'm going to give you a tiny glimpse into the suite of tools that I share with my clients, and these are included in my Happy Marriage Masterclass. And I use them in my life as well. So there's 5 steps for managing these kind of roller coaster moments in your relationship or marriage. And one of those steps, let me tell you, one of those steps is not bailing, not jumping mid ride. All right. And if you think back for a moment, I know I grew up in Disneyland, so that's kind of my perspective of roller coasters and fun rides. But when you're on a roller coaster ride, life feels great. They are great. We're excited. We're special. We've got the ticket. We've got the place. We're gonna see great things and have these extra experiences and bumps and all sorts of highs in your life. Well, that's what being in a relationship in the early moments. Life is great. They're great. You're great. You're so thankful. You're so excited to be with them. That standing on the platform, I've got my ticket moment, feels like you made the right decision. There's the adrenaline rolls, the passion rolls. You feel loved. You feel like you're in their thoughts. They are in your thoughts. And so think back to those highs in your relationship. And if I were to ask you, what do you like about your spouse or partner? What makes them the right one, the best one? Really, what makes them the right one? What makes them the best one? And I'm guessing you'd probably have a pretty easy idea, and maybe could be writing out a whole long list for me of what makes them special, why they're the right person, right? Awesome. In fact, it's so awesome. I want you right now, or jot yourself a note, and when you finish, right now, write all these good things down. Write them down, right? You never want to forget why we married them, why we're in the relationship with them, what makes them so special. But if you're in limbo, like many of us, or in that hill climbing moment where you're like, oh geez, something's going, something's happening, we're going to get ready for that downward plunge, and you're feeling like you're out of control, or maybe asking yourself, why am I on this ride? AKA, why am I in this relationship? Why am I in this marriage? Did I make the right decision? We start second guessing ourselves. And when you're in these plunging self-doubt, disconnected moments, it's really hard. I know it's hard to recall anything noteworthy or salvageable about the other person in your life, about them. It's probably hard to think about or write down great things about your relationship. But that's the first step. I need you guys to stop, whether you're in the adrenaline mode or you're in limbo, hill climbing, getting ready to plunge mode. I need you to stop a second. And I want you to make a list. That's number 1. Make a list of all the really great things about them, about the relationship, about you guys together. Write it all down and keep adding to the list. Use your phone. Use a journal. Keep writing to the list. Thinking back. Okay, here's some prompts to think of. Thinking about the win. When was it fun? When was it nice? What did they do? What did they say? What didn't they do? What were the times? What were you guys doing that made you feel special, that they did something special, something thoughtful? Okay? Maybe it's something that they did where they went out of their way just for you. Or they remembered. And it could be something as simple as, I don't know, you forgot to tell them to put something on the list that you needed for the grocery store, and they noticed and they remembered. That's kind of thoughtful, right? So write the list and keep adding to it. It's this evergreen kind of list. We can never have too many of great things about ourselves, about our relationship, about them, can we? Okay. Now, here's the second list. And for some people, it's actually easier because they're in that moment. I want you to list what's wrong with them, with the relationship. There's a caveat. I need you to be very specific about what's wrong. Like, they're lazy. That's not going to cut it, guys. Okay? Because I need you to be specific. We need it to be objective and specific so we can figure it out. But usually, we're so upset that when we think about what's wrong, like they're lazy, it becomes super global. We can't really narrow it down. It's just this kind of bad thinking. We don't really actually have an action to what we just described now. It's global and it's damaging. For example, with Shani, okay, it was super, super global. Paul wanted a really quiet, intimate first Christmas together. And that was not what she was wanting. That was not what she was prepared for, at least. And then it was awful, terrible, etc., etc. She was ready to divorce. She didn't have any other options. She was just going to shut down and bail. So the key is here, and this is what I worked with Shani and Paul, I needed them to be very specific on what is objectively going on. For example, maybe you don't want to spend money on a big TV during Black Friday, okay? Or for Christmas. I want you to break it down so we know why you don't and why they do. Or maybe you disagree with how the kids are allowed to do something. Like, okay, your kids are riding bikes in the street without a helmet or a mask, and you are upset. I want you to be specific about what the problem is. Was it that your spouse let them ride their bikes? Or that he or she let them go out with no helmet, no mask? Or was it the kids that they were riding bikes with? Or was it that no adults were watching? Or was it the wrong time of day and they hadn't done their homework or they hadn't done their chores? You get the idea. We want to be very specific about what is upsetting you and what is driving you crazy about that moment. Okay? And here's another key. When the conflict comes up, we want to narrow it down. And we want to take some of the emotions out of it. We need to be objective. Right? We need to be objective. It's just like if you were explaining to someone that you know, what you witnessed in an accident. The reason I'm asking you to take the emotion out of it is because emotion colors our perceptions of the situation. And our emotions are not always accurate, okay? Our emotions are not always objective or specific. And so, just as if you're witnessing an accident, you'd want to be able to say who hit who and what color was the car and, you know, where, you know, did they turn left and get hit or they turn right? You'd want to have the specifics as objectively as possible. That wouldn't be the time that you threw in a story about the time you were in a car accident or the last 3 accidents you saw. You would be focused right on that moment. And that's what I want for you. I want you to take the emotions out and let, because it influences our perception, and let's get objective and specific. No, I know it's a lot, but as emotion-free as possible, lay it out. What's causing this plunging downside of your relationship? Okay? So now you've got the happy stuff. Let's just do a recap. You got the happy stuff you love about them and about the relationship. And you've got the objective, this is what's wrong with them, this is what's wrong with the relationship. You got me so far? Okay. The third is that we then sort of do a balanced kind of an assessment, you know, kind of pluses and the minuses, the happy versus the problem stuff. And then so we got this balance analysis, and just kind of put it out in the universe. Is this thing that just happened so terrible and so awful that you don't think you could ever get past it? You know? Is it so awful and so terrible that you don't think you could ever get past it? Now, maybe you can't, because I'm not sitting there with you understanding what just happened or what has happened. It could be something that has hurt you terribly, deeply. But when we go to look at the list of the good things, it's minor, it hurts, It hurts deeply. I get that. But it's minor in comparison to the other good things, the great things, the wonderful things about them and your relationship. And with the right tools, Happy Marriage Masterclass, for example, the right help and time, that you could get past it. And that's where we want to start assessing. This is a step 3. We want to start assessing that this is one of these really bad oopses or disappointments or a drop, that plunge in the relationship. But if we focused, we got honest, we got the right help, we got the right suite of tools, that it could be resolved. It could make us even better. We could be working through, and we could be one of those really strong, successful, loving couples. Right? So, now, the 4th one is we're going to set it all aside for the moment. No rash decisions. We're not going to act on, like Shawnee was very like, run for the hills, you're going to bail. We don't act on this. We need to give ourselves and the relationship a little bit of a reprieve. Right? Maybe you do this in work world, or maybe you did it in school and stuff like that. When you've got to write an important letter or an email, for example, and we type it all up, and we have a lot of emotions and passion around that email, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. Wise person steps back from the computer, hands off the keyboard, and lets it chill a moment. Take a break, take a walk, come back with some fresh eyes. Even if you're just going to be looking for spelling mistakes, okay, and proofread it, fresh eyes, calmer moment, and revisit that email, if we're doing that example. And so what I want you to be able to do is set this aside, the good, the bad, and the balance part of the assessment, really the bad. Is this so terrible and so awful, I don't think I can get past it. Coming back with fresh eyes, a different perspective, a calmer, stronger mindset might have you answer it a little differently than if you did it in the moment. Okay, so that's number 5. Go back to the event, go back to the list of the great things, and the specific objective problem, and say, can this be fixed? Am I willing to fix it? Am I willing to try? 9 times out of 10, yeah. 9 times out of 10, we're sad, surprised, hurt. We kind of lack guidance. It took us by surprise. But we decide, we know we can work through it. Yeah. So, this is where I come in, guys. All right? I've got the guidance. I've had over 35 years, definitely over 70,000 hours directly working with couples. I know the info. I know where the major roadblocks, what gets couples derailed, and how to get you back together again. And it's all there in my Happy Masterclass. And, honestly, this is what Shawnee and Paul did. They identified, they worked through, they learned how to have conflict conversations, and they learned how to manage their emotions. Yeah, they got through some real cool shared dreams. They reconnected. They created new traditions. They managed transition. It worked out. It worked out for them. So I'm really, really happy for them. And guess what? It can work out for you too. You just got to give yourself a chance. Give yourself time to let the ride slow down, and then you can decide. Because my goal is that you enjoy the ride, you want to stay on the ride, and you keep getting better at riding the relationship roller coasters. And where do you start? Check out the link in the comments below. Browse my Happy Marriage Masterclass, and there's some other things in there too. Because today I've shared just a tiny bit of what can wait for you inside the Happy Marriage, Happy Relationship Masterclass. And best part, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for them. In fact, I encourage you not to wait for them. I encourage you to see what changes you can do right now that can start with you. I know a lot of people say, Why me? Why me? Why am I always the one that has to do it? Well, because you want something different, right? You know there can be something different. That's why we're here. We're inside Relationships Renewed. We're focused on bettering ourselves, bettering our relationship. And it can start with just you. So having the tools plus the guidance, you'll get there. It'll be around 10 main areas that couples often struggle with. And it's priceless. The information is priceless. You'll get your own private toolkit, and you get to start where you want to focus. You get to decide what's the most important area for you. The 10 modules are self-paced, and there's video instructions with Ma. I've got examples, real live case studies, real live couples, just like you, just like me. Got all the activities, they're fun. There's downloads and more. So you can start today because you want and you desire, and you know the week can be better. It was better. And even if it's great now, it can be even better. It can be one of those rock star to die for relationships that sometimes we see and look at and feel a little jealous, a little envious, a little like, what do they know that I don't know? Or, okay. You start the master class. You learn the tips, techniques, and trust me, your hubby, your spouse, your partner, your significant other, they're going to follow. They're going to follow because you're handling the situations and different. They're going to notice the difference, and they're going to be responding to the difference. You are in control. You are managing. You have the tools to lead upon. Okay? So you have the info to solve the situation. You have the info to share that. And you'll have lifetime access to the masterclass. So will they. So it's always available to go back to refresh and recharge. Anyway, I want to thank each and all of you for popping in here and joining me in my Happy Marriage Masterclass little talk, and more importantly, about understanding normal life roller coasters and in relationships. So you don't get surprised, but you enjoy the ride, and you'll keep rinsing and repeat. Okay? Take care. Talk to you soon. Holler if you need anything. Drop your comments in below. Feel free to share my info and share the video, and we'll be talking next week.